By noon, I promoted myself from grief auditor to director of petty legal efficient. Pomodoro timer set. Justice got 25-minute sprints with snack breaks and spite. Sprint 1. Evidence hygiene. I exported the Ring originals again, kitchen and porch. Checked timestamps against my router log, then generated fresh SHA-256 hashes. I printed the hexadecimal strings in 14-point font because judges have eyeballs too, and stapled them to a one-page chain of custody sheet with date, device ID, file size, and who touched what. Me, once. Cat, spiritually. Toaster, visually. The numbers purred like a metronome for truth. Sprint 2. Cheerio-veillance install, Phase 2. I moved the cereal box camera 2 inches left to catch the full sync cache and added a motion-triggered clip length because apparently my brother chews like he's fleeing. I named the profile Quiet Fury and set retention to forever or until banished by court order and a hug from a bailiff. Sprint 3. Legal stack. I called the bank's fraud desk and my customer service voice sharpened on betrayal. High protective notation on an account routing donations into a related LLC. Court order inbound, Sharon said. Flag applied, like she'd been waiting for a good sport. I asked for alerts if a nickel sneezed. She approved, typed, and said, Godspeed, which is bank for, I hate this for you, but I love following rules. Insurer SIU got the glossy packet, raw files, hash printouts, smart scale screenshot, and a timeline so boring it became art. They replied with a case number and a request for a sworn statement. I wrote one that sounded like a grocery list wearing a tie. Who, where, when, hash, toaster. Attached exhibits, vent admissions, audio, WAV hash, porch code words, MP4 hash, smart scale, welcome, PNG hash, wire split email, EML, headers preserved. I added a cover note. Please maintain hold. Claimant is breathing and eating my leftovers. Sprint 4. Counsel. I met a lawyer whose blazer could slice bread and whose eyebrows bill hourly. He skimmed my binder, haunting, but receipts, tapped the hash page, nodded once like a judge learning to smile. We'll file a TTRO at 9, he said. Impound request, bank notice, insurer hold, and a polite flamethrower to the processor. He underlined polite. Beige wins. He drew me a courtroom coloring sheet. Chain, identity, motive, movement. We rehearsed the line I was allowed to say out loud. Public cameras, preserved metadata, consistent hashes. No adjectives. I can do boring with glitter. I promise to leave the glitter at home. Sprint 5. Processor ping. Compliance asked for clarifying documentation regarding charitable purpose. I sent the QR route, the LLC registration with mom's initials wearing sunglasses, and a short note. Represented as scholarship. Routing to private operating account. Solicitation within place of worship. Exhibits attached. Their warmer reply. Donate button suspended pending enhanced due diligence. Translation. Pause the parade. Collect the confetti. I mapped money like a heist we didn't audition for. Column A, donation date. B, deposit to LLC. C, hop to operations. D, ATM cash near my back gate. E, 317 kitchen cameo. Lines rhymed. I highlighted the rhyme scheme in petty yellow and named the sheet Flowers Trip Move the Plan because honesty deserves captions. 2 tiny wins arrived dressed as pings. 1, Uber support confirmed frequent pickup at the alley behind my fence on the exact nights mom claimed prayer group. 2, porch light logs from their smart switch exported to CSV, blink blink at 8:38 and 9:12 on code word nights. Electricity is neutral. I trust neutral. I staged the ambush with HDMI because community loves raccoons and justice loves screens. HOA meeting, angle coverage review, raccoon montage queued between exhibits A and B. I labeled a thumb drive karma.move and a backup named banana bread because in this house, carbs carry truth. Night reconnaissance, clean and quiet. Cheerio-veillance caught mom lifting the false bottom tray and tucking fresh bills. Vent admissions heard dad, Friday the flowers. Archer limped in, whispered, gear's not cheap. Then weighed himself again because ghosts like trends. 182. Congrats on the afterlife gains. I clipped, hashed, backed up thrice, and wrote both hash strings on a fresh sticky note that looked smug on my lemon folder. Lena texted a gift. Subject line. Wire split and timeline pressure. Attachment showing percentages like a wedding registry for crimes. We printed 3 copies and added them to the lemon folder under words that age poorly. She also forwarded a draft transition memo from Nico. As executor, I'll be leading the company. Adorable verb. My lawyer wrote, contempt appetizer in the margin. I ran one last integrity pass. Router logs matched ring timestamps. Camera EXIF intact. File hashes stable across copies. I photographed the sticky notes next to the drives like it was prom, and we were proud chaperones. I slipped everything into labeled sleeves. Video, audio, money, words, toaster, photos, do not laugh. Beige wins, but packaging can smirk. At 11:58, I set the Pomodoro to sleep and the alarms to war. Text to Sharon. Tro at 9 o'clock. Appreciate those flags. Text to SIU. Sworn statement queued. Maintaining hold? Maintained, they replied, clean as paper. I set a reminder to breathe during HDMI because breath is free and panic invoice is late. Before bed, I stood in the kitchen with the toaster witness and the cat notary. I said, tomorrow, we keep it boring. The house hummed C minor ascent. I slid the banana bread drive into its tin, patted the lemon folder like a pet, and let the clock do something it hadn't in weeks. Count forward without lying. Follow the money. Legacy fund. My foot. The QR smiled pastel grief and routed like a getaway car. Tap, scholarship. Tap the tiny I, mom's LLC at my branch. Same bank as my business, same routing family reunion. I screen recorded slow like a cooking demo for indictments, cursor hovering on each field so a judge could follow with a cup of tea and no patience. Donations landed in legacy fund, hopscotched into operations, then sashayed to cash. ATM near my back gate, 9:07 p.m. The hour hypocrisy wears slippers. I built the ballet in a spreadsheet because I find serenity in cells. Column A, gift date. B, deposit into LLC. C, transfer to operations. D, cash withdrawal. E, 317 kitchen appearance by my undead brother. It rhymed so clean it made iambic pentameter jealous. I color-coded petty, yellow for flowers, pink for trip, orange for move the plan. I called Sharon at the branch. Protective flag already purring. She added a sneezes and nickels alert and promised escalation when my TTRO hit chambers. You'll get a ping before their conscience, she said. I made her banana bread in my head. Processor compliance replied with their favorite lullaby. Enhanced due diligence initiated. Donate button suspended. Translation. Grandpa's memorial yacht don't sail today. Mom posted temporary hiccup. I screen capped that beside the processor freeze. Harmony in 2 screenshots and 1 eye roll. Then the perfect, stupid gift. Subject line, condolences, wire split. The vendor wrote, once funds hit, 55/35/10 split. Friday preferred, timing tight. I put my phone down and stared at toast like it could explain greed's grammar. Once funds hit. The audacity of inevitability. I printed it, highlighted the split like a perfume ad for felonies, and slid it under words that age poorly. Lena, my favorite cousin with stealth, found the eulogy budget. Line items. AV, nephew free, catering offset by donations. MISC to be reconciled post-transfer. Post-transfer. I circled post until the toner wanted a union. She also surfaced the draft transition memo. Nico anointing himself executor in Comic Sans confidence. We filed that under comedy, then contempt. Electricity kept confessing. Their porch lights did the blink-blink routine precisely before ATM withdrawals. Uber receipts pinned Archer's snack runs. Same driver, same hour, same blue mailbox landmark. I DM'd the driver with a classic lost item script. He replied, he's a regular at the blue box. Regular is mildew for behavior. I traced the QR's merchant account like it owed me rent. Payout schedule set to daily. Threshold lowered the night after the funeral. Their processor log showed 6 disbursements to the LLC before the freeze. Sharon Cross matched the deposits and flagged each hop. She whispered, attempted $4,000 ACH to a debit card. Declined. I nearly crocheted her a medal. Insurer SIU got a money map appended to my sworn statement. QR route, LLC ownership, bank lands, processor freezes, and Archer's 317 withdrawals under my sink. I attached hashes for the clips because integrity wears hexadecimal. They replied, hold maintained, investigator assigned. Good. Let him follow the breadcrumbs through my mother's Pinterest board of fraud. Dad's language stayed budget meeting theatrical. Friday the flowers. Saturday trip. Move the plan. I annotated their code like I was grading a lazy spy novel. Flowers equaled cash. Trip equaled Archer's limp to the back gate. Move the plan equaled try to pull money faster than ethics. My seriousness broke and leaked a snort. I prepped the bank package like a wedding folder for justice. Cover letter in beige. Suspected misrepresentation of charitable purpose. Routing to related party. Timeline aligned with cash withdrawals and nighttime visits by the allegedly deceased. Exhibits. QR route. LLC registry. Processor freeze email. Transaction list with red arrows. Porchlight CSV. Uber confirmations. And the 317 clips hash sheet clipped on top like a corsage. Sharon likes tidy. I deliver tidy with a side of menace. Then I played offense. Processor's compliance portal loves timestamps. I uploaded the wire split email, the budget's post-transfer line, and a side-by-side of the scholarship page and the LLC deposit dashboard. Caption: represented as public benefit, routed to private entity, donors misled, request refunds on demand. They set a pipeline for voluntary reversals and started issuing refunds within hours. Donors messaged heart emoji relief. I replied with receipt emojis and a note. We're redirecting to an actual scholarship with oversight when I'm done fixing my family. The smart scale logged Archer again. 181.6 this time, a tiny arc and a graph titled, "My brother is a meme." I screenshotted the cheerful welcome banner and stapled it to the money map because comedy and math love each other. Finally, the pings aligned in a single hour. Attempted debit card siphon, declined. Donate button, frozen. SIU, hold confirm. Bank, flag.
Active. Porchlight. Blink blink. Uber. Blue mailbox. Archer. Left ankle. Lo mein. Zipper pouch. Mom. Hurry. Dad. Lay low. My spine installed. I wrote one more calm sentence for the judge. The legacy fund is a siphon, not a scholarship. The documents don't lie, they rhyme. Then I closed the binder, labeled the tab, followed the money, and set it next to the banana bread tin like a centerpiece. Tomorrow, HDMI. Tonight, inventory my patience and set 2 alarms. One for court, one for egg time or petty. Lawyer up. Calm is expensive. The blazer arrived with eyebrows that invoice. He took one look at my binder. Haunting, but receipts. Tapped the Shaw 256 page like a priest blessing a spreadsheet and said, "Good. Judges love numbers. Feelings come last." Then he dragged a legal pad toward me like a placemat for consequences. "Game plan," he said, voice like a level tool. TT Troo at 9. Motion to impound everything that breathes paper. Notice to ensure SIU to maintain hold. Courtesy ping to the processor and the parish. Chain of custody stays boring. You do not rename files to something adorable. I slid him banana bread, dessert. He raised one eyebrow. Adorable works for carbs, not evidence. He drew boxes. Identity, motive, movement. Identity, 14 tells plus toaster reflection. Motive, legacy fund, LLC siphon, wire split email, movement, kitchen, vent, porch, Uber, porchlight, CSV. He circled movement twice. Juries feel motion. Judges reward process. We serve both. He flipped to my hash printouts, checked the string length like a surgeon reading vitals, and stapled them to a chain sheet he labeled in all caps, "Boring wins." Your router logs match ring timestamps? Yes. EXIF present? Yes. Smart scale? I showed him 182 and the chipper welcome. He didn't smile. Dessert for cross, not entree. Cost? I asked. He shrugged with the compassion of a calculator. Calm is expensive. Panic costs more. Then he slid me a list titled, "Do not ruin this." It read, no text to suspects, no porch confrontations, no dramatic reveals without HDMI. Call me before verbs. He dialed old priest energy. When you speak, public cameras, preserved metadata, consistent hashes, no adjectives. He pointed at my lemon folder. Leave glitter in the car. He scanned the wire split email, underlined timeline pressure, and drew a tiny noose. We'll file this under intent, not drama. He added my processor freeze to a tab named Relief Already Happening. Judges love when reality cooperates. He called the bank while I watched the cat judge his diction. Protective flags live? Sharon confirmed. She typed like gravity. He dictated the order number template, hung up, and said, "Sharon's a keeper." I said, "She's getting banana bread." He said, "That's legal strategy." He pinged SIU, sworn statement incoming, hash attachments ready, insured alive and petty. The investigator replied with a case number and a tone that sounded like vacation delayed. "Good," my lawyer murmured. "Let him be bored at you." He drafted the TTRO language with a pen that made tiny verdict noises. Immediate harm to operating accounts.
misrepresentation of charitable purpose, attempted conversion, impound the records, nobody touches the toaster. I might have added the last part. He didn't object. He pulled out a schedule like a battle hymn. Tonight, HDMI, angle coverage review. You present like you're clarifying raccoon routes. We drop the line, orders filed, funds frozen, records impounded, no gloating. I nodded. Tomorrow, file, impound, notice, processor, parish, bank. After, inventory trap with observers. If they bring a locksmith, even better. Locksmiths ask for signatures. We have the only signature that matters. He tapped 2 more cameras onto a post-it, vent twin and outlet eye, and slid me a USB labeled court copy, read only. Every officer in this process needs theirs. Make more than you think you need. Someone always spills coffee. He paused and finally looked at my face. You okay? I gestured at the toaster. We've been talking. He nodded like he's treated worse coping mechanisms. Breathing pattern? 4, 4, 6. Good. Breathe between exhibits. People mistake oxygen for swagger. He rehearsed the reveal beats with me. Identity markers, movement map, hash integrity, QR route, freeze notice, SIU hold, porch light CSV, Uber receipts, smart scale if opposing counsel gets cute. He pinched his nose. If anyone says deepfake, hand them the hash and your freezer hum. He underlined hum. Ambient signatures make liars wish they'd majored in physics. He packed my lemon folder, slid the banana bread drive back into its tin, and set a thumb on the toaster photo. This is ridiculous and useful. Keep it. It's a mirror that testifies. He stood, straightened the invoice eyebrows, and said the closest thing to encouragement I've ever paid for. You did the math. Now we file it. On his way out, he turned. One more rule. You don't confront your parents outside. Counsel. I laughed once, a sound like bubble wrap failing. I only confront appliances. He didn't laugh. Good. Appliances don't lie. People do. Paper wins. When the door shut, the house inhaled. I stacked 5 court binders labeled video, audio, money, words, chain, and tucked a 6th titled Petty under my arm like a lucky charm. I texted Sharon, trial at 9. SIU, sworn statement uploaded. Processor, due diligence, exhibits attached. Parish, preservation request. Open, angle coverage review. Bring cookies. The cat head butted the lemon folder. The toaster reflected a man who looked like a witness and a threat. Calm is expensive. I paid in advance. Stakeout. Inside voices, outside consequences. I pretended normal, like it paid hourly. Dishwasher hum, inbox zeroing. The cat auditing my posture, while the house ran a quiet sting. Cheerio-veillance faced the sink cache. Vent recorder. Inhaled secrets. The outlet eye watched the back door with the patience of a librarian. My phone sat face down on the table, hashes tucked under its case like a spine. At 1:58 a.m., the porch sensor twitched. Cheerio-veillance woke first. Grainy edges, sink in soft shadow. Mom slid in frame. Cardigan zipped to her chin like she'd sworn an oath to pockets. She lifted my sponge false bottom and tucked an envelope so politely you'd think cash needed consent. Whisper. Friday. Flowers. The mic caught it neat. My timestamp blinked approval. 2:03. Archer limped through the back door, hood down this time. The left ankle flourished like a signature he refuses to shorten. He scanned the ceiling. Vent. Smoke detector. Fake outlet. Paused at the toaster reflection. Smirked at himself. Then at the cat. Hey, Chairman, he whispered. The cat blinked like he'd unionized. Dad's silhouette hovered in the hall, the shape of a lecture, the sound of toner. Lay low, he said. Consonants sanded down to anonymity. Archer popped the sink cache with one hand, lifted the pouch, tested the weight like a sommelier of bad choices, and nodded. Gear's not cheap, Mom hissed. Lower. He lowered. God's not buying crampons, he added into my kitchen, into my future exhibit. Cheerio-veillance dutifully pulled 30 seconds. I pressed save and felt the Shoush 25-6 hash slide into place like a lock catching. Vent recorder, a snag Dad's next line. Policy's close. We move when it clears. Flowers. Trip. Move the plan. The worst trio since the 197's polyester. Heavier footsteps. A cousin? No. Just Dad pacing a trench into my hall runner. Friday, flowers. Saturday. Trip. Sunday. Move the plan, he rehearsed, as if repetition could turn crime into calendar. Archer rifled my fridge, found a fork, ate my noodles like it was communion for dummies. He weighed himself, again, Because of course the afterlife is data-driven. Smart Scale chirped, 181.6 pounds. Welcome. I considered sending the app a fruit basket. As the door closed, the house exhaled. I logged the microbeats like a court reporter possessed by spite. 203 entry, 205 sync cash, 207 policy chat, 209 ATM audition with my Lome, 212 exit, left ankle grace note. I added a note for the hearing. Ghost etiquette does not include Tupperware. Across town, compliance yawned awake. The processor sent due diligence ongoing. Sharon pinged. Attempted $1,200 ACH to debit, declined. I added a banana emoji and promised her a loaf in my head. I tried sleep. My brain reran the scene with captions and a laugh track only I could hear. At 3:31, the porch cam caught the alley motion. A hood, a bounce. The blue mailbox landmark mirrored in the Uber driver's weary eyes. I pasted the ride timestamp into the sheet beneath porch light blink blink and wrote, in tiny font, electricity doesn't lie. Late morning, I stress organized verbs. HDMI deck, angle coverage, raccoons, then Exhibit A. I rehearsed lines in the mirror. Public cameras, preserved metadata, consistent hashes, no adjectives. The cat yawned, unimpressed.